Yo, what's up, you guys? Today we're talking about vintage edits. So I do a lot of digital work and I do a lot of film stuff, but sometimes I want my digital stuff to have that film aesthetic. If you check out this card right here, if you haven't seen some of my other film work, I have some older videos. They're a couple of weeks old. That'll show you some of the stuff that I've done before. But more than that, let's talk about vintage edits for your digital photos. This is like an aesthetic that I think a lot of people will like. So I want to show you how I go about doing it. So let's run the intro and then I'll pop up the little window right here like I've done before and we'll get into it. Okay, so for this image, I have my iPad and I just want to run through it. You'll see it over here as I go through it, but I want to highlight a couple of things while we watch it. So essentially what I'm doing is like a reversed edit. So essentially what I want to do is increase things that are going to change the contrast of the image. So one thing you see me doing here is increasing highlights, dropping whites, increasing the blacks. So instead of it like, if you drop your blacks and increase your whites, you're actually adding a whole lot of contrast. For vintage style edits, what I like to do is do the inverse of that. So by doing that, you actually get a less contrasted image, which really helps. As far as the tone curve, the one thing that I did was change my yellow and blue ratio. So I actually decreased I did like an inverse S and decreased my yellows in the highlights, so it almost gave it a yellow aesthetic over the entire image, which is really good. As far as color, what I was trying to do is keep the true to life colors. So this is kind of like a pro tip. So if you want to, what you can do with like really vibrant colors. So in this one, it was the house and the red. I actually decreased it a whole lot. And I didn't touch the hue, but what I did is saturation and luminance. So by doing that, I've muted that red color a whole lot, giving me more of a still true to life color, but also it's not super vibrant, so you get that vintage aesthetic. And basically what I'm doing through here is the same thing. I'm just playing with the different colors and making sure that they look still true to life, but more muted than they would have been with a really contrasted image. The next thing that I'm actually going to do is, of course, hit that grain, because if you want a really nice vintage photo, one thing that you can do is play with that grain a little bit. And just, this is kind of like a up to you sort of thing, so you can play with the amount, the size, and the roughness. Just get it to where you like it. So this one already had a little bit in it because of the way it was shot, and it was like out of a car going really fast, and I didn't have the best lens or whatever. But after that, all I'm doing is just hitting it with a nice crop, straightening it up a little bit so it actually fits the linearness of the house. And that's pretty much it. So now you see the before and the after. So with the before, we see really contrasted colors. We see dark shadows. We see a vibrant blue, red, and green. And then we have that vintage edit on the right, and that's kind of what I was talking about. So I've muted a lot of the colors, and I've added some grain, more than was already there, and kept the same colors. They're just not as like vibrant and punchy as the original one. So this is just a way for you to get into it. If you want to create a vintage edit, think about some of these tips. Make sure that you're muting your colors, that you're inversing your black and whites. Don't make them too contrasty unless that's just what you're going for. And if it was a black and white image, you could probably still throw in some contrast, but for color images, when you're going for that vintage, you want a muted color. Something else that I like to do for this image at least was add in some more of that yellow versus the blue, because it brings down that really blue sky. So these are just some tips that I think will help you out when you're doing a vintage edit. If any of this helps you out, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you do it. Let me know if this is anything like your workflow. Okay, so this is the end of the video. So this is the shameless plug. If you want to, now is the time to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. I really appreciate all of those things, because I just want to hear your feedback. If you do it differently, or if you like the way that I did it here, if you use any of these tips, let me know. Make a video and like post it. Let me see it. Let me like drop a link or something, or you can hit me up on TikTok and duet something of mine. Either way, thank you so much, and I will catch you in the next one. I'll hit you with a, and I will see you later.